from the United Kingdom, north of the country, so I speak funny dialect, which I'm going to tell you out in a little while. But this morning, actually I must just say, I'm proud to be here this morning at the centenary year of the John Campbell Folk School. I am quite proud to partake in this year's ceremony, because I think what you do at John Campbell's School is absolutely brilliant. You're keeping crafts alive, you're able to practice the skills and arts and things like that. And that's what we need nowadays to keep the world alive. Anyway, no more ado from me. What I'm going to do this morning is tell you a few of the traditions that are still with us and some that have died out in the last few years, because some of the local traditions are dying out very quickly around the world basically because of mobile phones and things like that. So, first of all, I'm going to sing you a song, and it's about an itinerant fiddler who used to go around the villages just over the river where I live, the River Tees. And in this song, this song was written in 1884, and even then, some traditions were disappearing. So I'm going to sing. The chap who he was called Parking Rain was the gentleman, the fiddler, and I had the pleasure of meeting his great grandson, was also called Parking Rain. It was a family name that ran down, and he was the last of the line. So the Parking Rain family has now died out, but there were local historians, and they've left a lot of stories behind. So anyway, I'm going to sing you this song, and it tells you about a fiddler that wandered around the countryside at various events, and it goes like this. Ye merry musicians of Teesdale, who love on the fiddle to play, oh, go unto concerts and parties where music and dancing hold sway. Your music is sweet and you please us with many a fine melting strain, but the best of your courses came from us, our favourite old Parking Rain. He's gone, and we'll never at merry night see him again, but the people of Teesdale will ever remember brave old Parking Rain. So neatly the bow he could handle, so few men could true a time beat. We heard his performance with pleasure, his turns were so mellow and sweet. Though praised by the talesmen around him, ne'er was conceited and vain. A plain and assuming good fellow, the fiddler, old brave Parking Rain. But he's gone, and we'll never at merry light see him again, but the people of Teesdale will remember old brave Parking Rain. At Fair's place, we now miss him, where the Dale's lad and lasses met off, to follow the practice of dancing, those scenes we can never forget. His polkas, quadrilles, reels and hornpipes, canto and heel ganning away. Few men were so skilled in such muses as the fiddle, old brave Parking Rain. But he's gone, and we'll never at merry night see him again, but the people of Teesdale will ever remember brave old Parking Rain. When farmers had finished their harvest, they offward were Parking did stand. He got all their workers together, a joyful evening to spend. Many a stout country damsel, many a hard-handed swain, kept up the enjoyment till morning to the music of old Parking Rain. But he's gone, and we'll never at merry night see him again, but the people of Teesdale will ever remember brave old Parking Rain. He was all of the hearty and cheerful, and ne'er in the least thought him wrong, to mingle with low social people and sing a good old hunting song. But the cry of the hounds pleased him better, as they sped over hill, dale and plain, with a loud tally-ho to the hunters, a sportsman is old Parking Rain. But he's gone, and we'll never at merry night see him again, but the people of the Teesdale will ever remember old brave Parking Rain. By Stainmore and Brough they well knew him, he did at the Holy Night's play. 'Tis long since the holly was lighted, the customers now done away. his fiddling and hunting are over. He's gone from this drear world of pain. But the people of Teesdale will ever remember old Parking Rain. But he's gone, and we'll never meet him again. But the people of Teesdale will ever remember old brave Parking Rain. So in that song, you probably noticed that they gathered at harvest and got all the workers together, but that's all gone because harvest all automated now. And you notice the Holy Nights things. Well, the chap that came to me to collect that song, he said, "Do you know anything about the history of the Holy Night being lighted?" I said, "No," and we didn't. We couldn't find any research about it, so that tradition completely lost because there was no notes. There was nobody to ask anymore, so the tradition's died. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you a few stories about some of the local traditions that we have still going, and I'm going to go blazing through the year, if you like. So, the week before Christmas, in Richmond, there's a tradition called Town Os. Now, in English, it's spelled A-W-D, Oud, and Os is A-W-S, and it means old horse. Now, the tradition is, this tradition has been handed down by the same family for as long as anyone can remember, at least a couple of hundred years anyway, before the First World War even. And what happens, the week before Christmas, they have a skeleton of a head of a horse. And it's jaws made mechanical by a bit of wire, and it's mounted on a broom pole, and the chap gets a cloak over him, and he wears this horse on his head. And he's accompanied by 4 or 5 men, all dressed in his scarlet hunting long frock coats, scarlet coats, and top hats, and the one has a hunting horn, and the other have whips. And what happens, they go out the week before Christmas, and they go out to all the farms and stately homes around the Richmond. And what happens, you'll be sitting in a restaurant or a pub, having a pint, and all of a sudden the hunting horn goes, ta-da-da-da, and the door bursts open, and they all charge in, and they sing this song, and while they're doing that, the horse goes around doing silly things like pinching people's hats and scaring the kids and getting stuff out of people, because he has sort of poetic license then. So, and then, he can't be doing so. The other guys they surround his horse and they whip him and the song, and then eventually the horse dies and he goes, poor, and he goes, poor old horse, poor old horse. Then up he gets again, like a pantomime, up he gets again, and off they go. And as they go out, people throw money into the thing, because that's what it's about, really. And that's the way. I mean, I wasn't going to tell you this story, but I will do, because they go to all the stately homes, and we have a big stately home just for, and a guy called the Marquis of Zetland lives there, and he always welcomed them, and of course they have whiskey, and just everywhere they go around the farms to get whiskey, and obviously by the end of the night, they're pretty jolly. And only 2 years ago, they all went back to Richmond, and they said, "Oh, where's Kent?" And the lads went, "Oh, I don't know, where is he?" And they looked for him, and he'd gone to sleep in the Marquis's front room, and they found him there next morning. And the Marquis said, "What are you doing here, silly old boy? You better have breakfast, Anyway, on that was the week before Christmas. Anyway, on Christmas Eve, they go around all the shops in the town centre, banks and everywhere, and they charge in with the hunting horn. People are trying to get served in the supermarket, and they burst in and do the song, and they go right round the marketplace, and then that's it for the year. The tradition of the horse is just for 1 week and 1 day, and then it'll be put away for the whole year, and they treat the horse with reverence. They then get him up. He looks all right this year. We'll look a bit of paint here and a bit of paint there. But because it's this same horse's, I think it's the second horse's skull they've had over the century. Anyway, that's enough about the Richmond horse. And of course, I don't know whether you have it over here, but day after Christmas we have Boxing Day, which is a public holiday. So no banks and shops are open. So 150 years ago, a guy called Cecil Sharp was riding around the countryside, and he saw the men of Headington in Oxfordshire dancing a Morris dance on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. And he took note of this and wrote it down, and that's how because the reason they were dancing on Boxing Day, they were quarrymen. It had been a very hard winter, and obviously the quarry were closed down, so they were dancing out in the street to make a few pennies just to survive, to get bread for the families and things like that. And Cecil Sharp saw that, and he asked about them and found out, well, they have these strange Morris dancing teams in various villages all around this area. So on his bicycle he went and saw the people and did his research, and that's how we collect a lot of our Morris dances, from that one thing that happened 150 years ago. But also on Boxing Day, as well as the Morris dancers all turning out and dancing on Boxing Day and remembering that, all the local hunts, because they're still allowed to do fox hunts. Well, they're not allowed to do foxing hunts anymore, but they still have hunts, and they do trail hunting. So all the hunting people have the scarlet jackets and the white breeches and things and top hats. And there's 4 or 5 men, the hunt master with his horn and the whippers in and things like that, and the hunt master. All of the red coats and things. It's quite a spectacular thing. And our village green, they meet 11 o'clock on Boxing Day, and there's probably about 150 followers on horseback. So it's an absolutely splendid sight, because you can imagine it's a little bit chilly on News Bay, because the steam comes off the horses and the glistening saddles and things like that. And they have probably about 60 hounds with them, so that when they come and have a set, pat everybody. And then they blow the horn at 11 o'clock, and off they all process down the village to ride around the fields and pretend to be hunting. So that's something that all the hunts around the country do on Boxing Day. I mean, there's one in Baydale around here. Anyway, there's several around the country. I won't bore you with them all. So that's what happens on Boxing Day. And also it's a day that mummers' plays go out as well to the local pubs and do their little mummers' plays. I mean, I'm not going to tell you about mummers' plays. You can find out from somewhere else. But it's another thing where little traditional plays still happen. So that still happens. So that's sort of taken care of Boxing Day. And we're now going to move a little further on into the year. In the church calendar in England, we have Plough Sunday. Now that goes back for a lot of years, and it's always on the 3rd Sunday of Epiphany, which is the 3rd Sunday after Christmas, basically. And it's always traditionally on that day. And what happens, I mean, a lot of this has died out. They used to bring the ploughs out to the churches, and they were blessed, because in the middle of January it's time to start ploughing to get the fields ready for sowing in the spring. So what happens in the local side, which is still going, leaving sword dancers, they have got an old horse plough, and they drag it to the village church, and the longsword dancers come and do longsword dances, and then they have a service in the church, and it's the blessing of the plough. And that's a tradition, a North Yorkshire tradition. There's only, I think there's 2, well, I think I only know the one plough, but several Morris dancers go out to the churches and do Morris dancing on that 3rd Sunday of Epiphany. So that's another tradition that's nearly died out, but it still happens. And of course, we're then moving on through the year, and we come up to more or less Easter, when the night days are getting longer and it's warmer. And I don't know whether you did it, you were here, but let me think about this. Anywhere really, in our little village and things, about this time of year, there was no set time on the calendar, but it always happens. About end of April, they used to get whips and tops out. Do you remember whips and tops? It's like a stick with a thong on it and a little wooden cone with a nail on it. You used to make the top spin. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that used to happen about that time of year, and it used to happen, for about 3 or 4 weeks, and that was it. It all happened at that time of year, but that seems to have died out now, because kids don't have playgrounds that they can do that type of thing in. So that's a tradition that has actually died out. And of course, the other thing that happened at that time of year was I don't know, you call that a marble? Yeah. Well, this is a marble we call now. Where my dad comes from in West Yorkshire, they were called taws. And in North of England, a little bit further away, they're called them pinkers. And this always used to happen round about just before, after Easter basically. And all the kids in school used to have a pocket full of these. And there's several ways of playing it. You used to roll them along the ground and see if you can hit your mates. And or you could drop them onto somebody else and see if you could hit him one thing. There were lots of schoolboy games that was made up with these little glass balls. And what I'm going to say, that, they were very prevalent around the north of England, and where there are a lot of what we call industrial housing, if you like, where there were just rows of houses near the pits or the shipworks and things, very poor houses, but the kids always, because all they could afford were the marbles and pinkers. Well, any day, the kids used to get out in the streets and they used to roll them along the side, we call them the gutters, at the edge of your sidewalks, I suppose, and roll them down there and see if you get your pal, you get your mate's marble. And at the end of the day, you might lose all your marbles, or you lose your marbles, that's no saying. Or you might finish with a pocket full of marbles. Anyway, I'm going to sing you a little song now about a young man that lost his marbles. I think I may be related to him, actually. And in the north of England, they call all the people up there Geordies. That's a historical story about, because Geordie was a big inventor of steam engines and all that in that area. So everybody, and they speak their own language up there. So I'm going to sing you a little song about a young lad called Geordie, and he lost his, they call it pinker up there. So this song goes something like this. War Geordie's lost his pinker, War Geordie's lost his pinker, War Geordie's lost his pinker, down the double raw. And he's lost it down the Cundy, he's lost it down the Cundy, he's lost it down the Cundy, down the double raw. So he went and fetched his terrier, small dog, he went and fetched his terrier, he went and fetched his terrier from down the double raw. And he rammed it down the Cundy, he rammed it down the Cundy, he rammed it down the Cundy, down the double raw. But the terrier couldn't have shifted, the terrier couldn't have shifted, the terrier couldn't have shifted from down the double raw. So he went and got a clear sprop, he went and got a clear sprop, he went and got a clear sprop from down the double raw. And he rammed it down the Cundy, he rammed it down the Cundy, he rammed it down the Cundy, down the double raw. But the clear sprop couldn't shift it, the clear sprop couldn't shift it, the clear sprop couldn't shift it from down the double raw. So Geordie fetched gunpowder, for Geordie fetched gunpowder, for Geordie fetched gunpowder, down the double raw. And he tied it to the clear sprop, he tied it to the clear sprop, he tied it to the clear sprop, down the double raw. And he rammed it down the Cundy, he rammed it down the Cundy, he rammed it down the Cundy, down the double raw. Now he set light to the powder, he set light to the powder, he set light to the powder, and his blood down double raw. Now Geordie's fun his pinker, well Geordie's fun his pinker, his funny, Geordie's fun his pinker, down the double raw. It was in his bloody pocket, it was in his bloody pocket, it was in his bloody pocket, and his blood down double raw. Now, just to explain what a Cundy is, it's a drain in the road. So, over there, people say, what's a Cundy, So it's just what they've got strange names for things up there. So, the Cundy is just a drain down the road. And then he hadn't actually lost his pink down. Anyway, yeah. I get carried away. How we doing? Oh, yes. As you've probably noticed there are other traditions that are still going strong. And what happens in the second week in June, where we used to live, and then a couple of weeks later, they have big horse fairs where all the Romanies from all around the country, they come down to these little villages, and it takes them a couple of weeks before, and it's always the second week in June, but a couple of weeks before, and they come in from all parts of the country with their coloured wagons with the horses, and they camp on the sides of the roads, making a nuisance themselves over the few weeks. Kill a few rabbits and chop a few trees down for the fires. But it's a tradition, and the gypsies, I mean, I never had any trouble with them because I used to wheel and deal a bit, you know, and they used to come and say, I still got an out to that, you know, they used to want cast iron pots and pans to put on the fires, and bits of horse harness and stuff like that, and I used to wheel and deal with them, and they used to spit in your hand and shake around, that'll do lad, you know, they also tried to knock you down in price, or, you know, but anyway, I digress a little bit, but they have these big horse fairs, and probably 300 or 400 of these gypsies in the coloured caravans and things, they come down the the highways and things like that, and it's getting a bit dangerous now actually, but someone put them on the back of a trailer and take them a bit nearer, so we've only got a few miles to go, but these horse fairs still take place, and they wheel and deal with the horses, they gallop them down the streets, and they take them in the river to see if they could trot properly, and they swap and trade and get drunk and all the things, and then a couple of weeks later when they're all skinned, they all get the horses and carts and all go back to wherever they came from, or perhaps to the next horse fair, which is about 20 or 30 miles away. So I'm going to sing a little song now about this gypsy who fancied a young lady in one of the stately homes, and he ran off with her, and it's called the Gypsy Rover. You probably know the chorus. It's got a chorus for you. If you want to join the chorus, it used to be a popular folk song years ago, apparently. So I'm going to sing the Gypsy Rover. The gypsy rover rode over the hill into the valley so shady. He whistled and he sang till the bluebirds rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, ah-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-oh. He whistled and he sang till the greenwoods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. She left her father's castle gate, she left her own true lover, to go with the gypsy with all her haste, the whistling gypsy rover. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, ah-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-oh. He whistled and he sang till the greenwoods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. So her father mounted his swiftest steed to search for the valleys all over, to look for his daughter with the greatest speed, and the whistling a gypsy rover. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, ah-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-oh. He whistled and he sang till the greenwoods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. And they came up to a castle gate by the river Glady. There was whiskey and there was wine for the gypsy and his lady. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, ah-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-oh. He whistled and he sang till the greenwoods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. He's no gypsy, my father, she said, but lord of these lands all over. With I must take till my dying day, my whistling a gypsy rover. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, ah-day. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-oh. He whistled and he sang till the greenwoods rang, the whistling gypsy rover. So that's a little song about the gypsy rover, right? What else was I going to tell you about? Oh yeah, I was telling you about your dialects and things. I've still got a few minutes left. Now then, I come from North Yorkshire, and I don't know if you can see that from here, but it's three wise monkeys, and we have a saying in North Yorkshire. It says, hear all, see all, and say nought. Yeah, so hear everything, say everything, and say nought. Hear all, see all, and say. And the next bit, the most important, if there ever does out for nought, always do it for the said. So if you ever do anything for nothing, always do it for yourself. So hear all, say all, and say nought. And if there ever does out for nought, do it for the said. So that's a little dialect thing, and we have all sorts of sayings, I think. I mean, our dialect is quite broad. You go from, like I sang the Geordie song there, it was a completely different dialect to my native song, and my native dialect. And in our dialect, we have different emphasis on different letters. I mean, I've got a drink of water here. In Yorkshire, we call it water. Yeah, and my daughter's a school teacher, and she's, you can't say that, Dad, it's water. I say, nay, lass, it's, when I learned the alphabet, A is for apple, and W-A says water. So we have water, and we have grass as well. We don't have grass, we have grass. And we don't have the letter T in our language, we don't. I'm sorry, I'm getting that wrong. We don't have the word the in Yorkshire. Because, for instance, I go say, shut door, or turn the light on. I mean, you go and shut the door. But we shut door, turn the light on. And, you know, so we haven't got the letter the, whatever. Because we have various greetings as well. Because my brother always rings us up now and again. I go, now then, our kid. And that is, now then, how are you, you know. And how's they getting on? That means, how are you today? How are you? How's they getting on, lad, you know. And and sometimes, I mean, a lot of these dialects have died out. I've got a tea towel in with some references on, but because I work on a farm and things like that, we have all sorts of things, you know, called year-old sheep gimmers, and oh, let me think about this. Oh, you know, go shut gates. Cars are coming home. You know, people don't know what we're talking about. You know, washing machine's broken down. That means the washing machine has broken down, you know, things like that. So, and I was on a train going back home once, and I knew when I got into Yorkshire, because someone in the next carriage says, I've just paid £2 for a loaf of bread. Because they were a loaf of bread, we still have the E and the A in them in their bread. And I was just telling Martha the other day, we live near Swale there, where James Herrick, well, actually James Herrick was our vet many years ago, and to us he was just blooming vet, you know, he wasn't famous in those days at all. But a lot of the stories that he tells are true about his car having no brakes and he used to shoot through the gates and things like that. Anyway, that I digress a little bit. And we live near Swale there, which is a beautiful part of Yorkshire. But the dalesmen up there, they don't call them Swaledale sheep, they call them swabbles. So, you know, we make the language fit the area, if you like. So anyway, I think my time's just about up. So what I'll do, I'll sing you another little song, because I was a farm lad, so I've got it written down here. And this is another song that was collected many years ago. Once again, about some of the musicians have more or less died away now. And it goes something like this. I like to rise when the sun she rises, early in the morning. I like to hear them small birds singing sweetly upon the lalem. But hurrah for the life of a country boy, and hurrah rumbling in the mown hay. In the spring we sow, the harvest mow, and that's how the seasons around they'll go. For all the times I choose I may, I go rambling in the new mown hay. So I like to rise when the sun she rises, early in the morning. I like to hear the small birds singing sweetly upon the lalem, and hurrah for the life of a country boy, and to ramble in the new mown hay. In the winter when the sky is grey, we hedge and we ditch our times away. In the summer when the sun shines gay, I go rambling in the new mown hay. Oh, I like to rise when the sun she rises, early in the morning. I like to hear those small birds singing sweetly upon the lalem. So hurrah for the life of a country boy, and to ramble in the new mown hay. So that's the end of... just to elaborate on the last verse of that song, in the winter when the skies are grey, we go hitching and ditching our time away. Well, that is what used to happen on the farms in the autumn and early winter. Nowadays they have mechanical hedge cutters and things like going around. We used to spend many hours, I mean I've done it myself, with what we call a hedge slasher, it's a long handle with a blade on the end, trimming all the hedges down, to get off all the old growth so they grew again in the winter. So we used to spend days chopping hedges, and of course hedging and ditching. That was another job on its own. We had a long spade with a swan neck at it, and we had to make sure all the ditches along the side of the road flowed away. That was the time of year we used to go around with spades and cut them and chuck all the grass and stuff out. So that's how we used to spend the time in winter, hedging and ditching. And those traditions have now died because it's all mechanical. So anyway, my name's Ian, and I hope you enjoyed this morning and enjoy the rest of the festival and time here. Thank you all very much.